Greetings and welcome to CRT Gaming Podcast, episode number 38, Blazing Star. This is Jones, and with me tonight are my good friends Gohan and Dazpick. Mr. Dazpick, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Pretty great. Nice little break, well needed.
Yeah, we had to take a couple week break, but
well rested.
Vacation's over, and
back to gaming.
Yeah, back to gaming it is. And Mr. Gohan, have you enjoyed your little break?
Absolutely, but tonight the big one is closing in. Blazing Star. Sorry, I just love how I just want to do the entire episode as if I was, translated by the game's localization team, because there's some great stuff in this game.
Bonus.
Your skill is great.
The Guardian's Crypt.
Bonus.
Pay attention to backward.
Bonus.
Bonus.
We just need that bonus voice to happen every 3 seconds throughout the whole podcast.
Just interrupting us.
Yeah. Bonus.
I really like bonus. Fuck.
Yeah, so we're kicking off season number 3 here, and I thought a good way to kick it off would be we kind of go through and do a little tribute to the mighty Neo Geo system. The condition kind of was no fighting games, anything else goes. And this is hard for me. It was really hard for me to narrow it down to one game, but I went with the Blazing Star just because this is one of the games for this system, that just kind of blows my mind it exists. There is so much happening. If you can look at other systems throughout the past, the Neo Geo was it was an arcade system, but on a technicality, it was a home system because they did do the Neo Geo AES, but it's the same hardware.
If you had deep pockets.
Yeah, you had them deep pockets, son. It was not cheap.
This isn't your Atari Jaguar, kid.
No, it was not. But by today's standards, I guess that through inflation, the prices would be higher. But I think
oh my God.
If it came out today, I think more people would own it. If it was
they just couldn't afford a game for it.
No. Yeah, I shared ownership of quite a few games with one of my buddies.
It's kind of like owning a condo. You don't really own it. You just kind of
share it.
It's a timeshare.
Yeah, it was when I got my Neo Geo, he had Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown 2's coming out, and he's like, you pay half for Samurai 2, and we'll just share 1 and 2. And I'm like, deal. This sounded like a great idea. So we just started going in on bonus on games. Yeah, bonus. But
Blazing Star is kind of a, I don't know. When people think of Neo Geo, this isn't the first game that comes to mind, but it is criminally underrated.
Yeah, like I said, it's this. You have. So if you compare arcade hardware at the time, the Neo Geo came out when the Capcom CPS2 system was out, which is what ran Street Fighter 2. The early days of the Neo, you had games like Magician Lord or Fatal Fury. and the graphics at that time, like the first Fatal Fury, is kind of like mediocre-ish looking.
It's pretty shit.
But you fast forward to the end of the hardware cycle till you get to like Mark of the Wolves. Like then it's hard to believe that's the same hardware.
Yeah, they learned some shit.
Yeah, it's a mind-blowing transformation from the Gen 1 games to the end. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, and like and Blazing Stars just was one of those for me. It was kind of well, basically it's a 2D side-scrolling shooter, and most of the game is like pre-rendered enemies or environments that is turned into sprites, and then like bullet hell ensues basically. And it's a great fun game. It's a different style game than the game they had made before, which was Pulstar. And Pulstar's more of a R-Type clone, and it's one of those games where you just basically like Blazing Star, you can play it, just, shoot wild, not quite know the patterns, and kind of just power your way through parts. Other parts are unmerciful, but Pulstar's, you memorize the game. That's the only way you get
Pulstar is, let's just underline it, fucking difficult. It's a hard game. This is not for greenhorns.
No, sir. And I didn't know this, but going back through it, the developers that made Blazing Star, I know it was a sequel to Pulstar. It was the same team, but you're kind of dealing with that thing that kind of like Donkey Kong Country and Killer Instinct kind of made most famous, for that look of rendered sprites. They actually did Viewpoint. I don't know if either of you guys played Viewpoint.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I vaguely remember it.
Also difficult. Also difficult.
Yeah, it's also hard. But it's like it's the same thing. Like these are like rendered sprites, and Viewpoint's the same, except they're like flat shaded, so it kind of has like a Zaxxon type look to it, albeit much more detailed. But it isn't the same like isometric view that Zaxxon was in.
I'm remembering it more now.
It is, yes, also super hard.
Yeah, just how difficult Pulstar and Viewpoint were. It kind of turned me off to this game initially, but I think maybe the feedback got to the team that just about the crushing difficulty, and this one is, way more kind of way more playable. I mean, the other two games are definitely very playable, but they're high skill, high difficulty, and this is just kind of like more of a fun kind of shooter, kind of romp, kind of like Lords of Thunder, you know what I mean, where it's like you could play it in one session and kind of enjoy the game kind of end to end.
Yeah, you can definitely, or you could just credit through it, which, you kind of have to until you play the game a ton. And like I said, I played it enough where I got really good at parts, and then other parts I still don't see how I don't know if there's a way out. Like if I was really good, could I have gotten out of that? No, I don't think I could have. But it does. It has a lot of like really like cool things in it. Like there was one thing that was kind of cool. I had paused it one time on level 2. And that's the level where you kind of have like this 3D background. You're like in some type of like future factory where like these steel girders are kind of going off into the background. And the background was still scrolling. And I couldn't remember a game that's done that really ever, because it was kind of weird. But it was just kind of like a weird thing that happened that I discovered, maybe by accident. But
yeah, that level, if I'm remembering the one that you're describing, it looks 3D. I mean, it's like, just goes to show you, it's like, like something like that. No way a Gen 1 Neo game could have gotten that. I mean, it looks good. And like you said, the game's graphics are based on sprites, like Donkey Kong Country, KI. But man, compared to the low-res, super compressed sprites that were in the rare, games, Donkey Kong and the like, these were like very, very clean, like real clean compared to what was kind of going on at home at the time.
Yeah, it was totally like a different level, especially the size of some of the things that you were fighting. Nothing was completely screen filling, but they were gigantic things at times. You were fighting.
Super simple game, right? Side-scrolling shooter, but it had this neat thing that I actually, maybe Jones or Des know of another game like this, but it's like you really kind of can use one button to do 3 types of attacks. There's like the regular attack, and then there's like your rapid attack where you're, just rapid.
Really beating it.
Yeah, you're really mashing the button, and then there's the kind of overcharge. And I can't think of any other game that actually did like 3 different types of attacks just off one button, really, so definitely a kind of a neat little innovation there.
Yeah. Did you guys experiment with any of the ships or have any?
I tried. I tried all of them, but I kept coming back to the one with the tri-blade tip, with the kind of like the energy beam, not the beam, but like the sparkle that would stay on the tip.
Like the tip. Laser sword type thing.
Basically, I used him the most. Kind of, just felt like Mo Big coming in and figuring out where to lay it down. It's just where can I put this to do the most damage? And but yeah, it was cool. But I tried the other ones too. I didn't like all the other ones felt very kind of traditional, like big shoot area or lots of fast shooting, but this one I ended up not shooting a lot. I just kind of kept my tip shining,
kept your sword out,
and kept my sword out and did the damage that way. It cost me a lot of quarters, but it was still cool. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, how about you, Gohan? What ship do you play with?
I'm pretty lame when it comes to games like this. I always just run with the default ship. That's like, I'm just going to pick Ryu. Whatever the game design team thought was the coolest ship, the default ship, I always run with that one. So I use the red ship, the one that's the initial selection.
Like the lava laser thing or whatever it shoots up.
You got it.
Yeah, no, it's a good ship. I played with it, most of the time. I ended up playing these runs with the one that shoots the green fan. Laser pattern.
The wave.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I like it because it's got the like the green wave, but then you go faster, it goes to like a red wave that's faster and kind of bigger, and then it kind of launches these little like green bomb, like smart bomb things on its charged move. So it was but it was the laser ship, the one that Daz played with, that one's kind of interesting. You got to kind of play the game a little different because you're planning to ram everything.
Yeah, you're basically just putting something on everybody.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like to call it out again, but like Lords of Thunder, it's like with that ship design, how you play it, it's like you're really incentivized to get like up in their business to do the most amount of damage and kind of bail out, when you need to evade.
Like I said, there was a lot of like variation kind of in the levels. Some were kind of spacey, others were kind of like in a warehouse, and others are. I kind of really enjoyed the one level where you're kind of like falling down a chute or a giant shaft in like a larger ship of some sorts, fighting a boss. And then you come out at the bottom of it and you're kind of like entering the atmosphere, like you're heating up from re-entry and you're fighting it. But that was kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like there was one boss that like when you first see it, it's like really close up to camera. You're seeing like its backside and its shoulders and everything, and then it kind of swings around. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, had a little camera action to this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like just a little foreshadowing. It's like the bad guys creeping up on you, and then you kind of go toe to toe. Yeah, I mean the game's filled with a ton of little touches like that keep it interesting, right? Like pretty much the whole game, like it wasn't a whole lot of vertical scrolling, right, Jones? It's pretty much just horizontal, but like even just like the water level later on in the game where you actually go underwater and stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, like the thing that was really mind blowing to me about the background art was just their perspective shifts, right? Because, what's the first thing that you see when you start the game? You're like flying in like high orbit. And then over the course of the game, or I'm sorry, the first level, you transition from high orbit to like coming down. And then you're kind of, skimming over the, over the ground, over the tree line, basically. And that's all in one level. And that's pretty impressive.
And a lot of times there's a lot of activity, like just things happening in the background as far as mechanical things moving. They're very detailed at times. One thing you mentioned earlier was the amazing basically the amazing use of English in this game.
Yes.
So, how do you guys feel about when you go to continue? Or basically when you die? It's like,
I did it a lot, so I'm trying to remember.
It'd be like, hey, poor player. I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah, and that was, oh god, that was so annoying because it'd be like, yeah, basically you suck, yeah. And then you kill the boss after sucking 50 times. Oh my god, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
So yeah, but the game kind of runs hot and cold with your psychology.
It does.
I remember there's one
minute I'm down in the dumps. The next minute I'm like, next best thing.
Yeah, yes.
It's like a couple times I died and it says, "Are you serious?" And then I'm thinking at the same time, "Are you serious?" Like as to what how I died, because
the feeling's mutual.
See what that baby was shooting at me.
Well, don't talk about BRAWSHELLA that way.
Oh, are we getting into lore? Now?
No, there's lore. I don't know if we should go there yet. Maybe in just a couple minutes.
Just saying the amount of bullshit that baby spewed on me.
Yeah, because that one level towards the end, like, so I've probably played it maybe like 5 or 6 times. I kind of went through it because you can, plow through this in about 20 some minutes.
That's what she said.
She lied. But the level towards the end where the boss fight is like this armada, like there's like this one giant ship and then like 5 or 6 bigger ship. It's like a 7-minute long boss battle. It's just like, it's just brutal.
That's the thing. Like,
every time I played it, I hate that level.
The bosses are like their designs are not like super like iconic, but man, they definitely lean into the whole like multi-stage boss where it's like, no, you like to beat this boss, you actually need to learn like 3 different patterns, so like it's not just like the typical Gradius boss where it's like, yeah, you learn one pattern and you're able to just kind of like march through it. This, you have to kind of adapt with the boss, and that kind of armada battle that you're talking about was definitely one of the more memorable ones.
Yeah, that one sucked. I didn't like that one. It took forever. It was like, Jesus Christ, how many ships are coming out? Come on.
Because like the levels themselves, like I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't die any time throughout the levels, but the levels are easy in comparison to some of the bosses. Like it's when like this boss just ate $2. You just
no,
wrecked me.
that is a fact. It's all smooth sailing until how huge that is appears on the screen. The big one is closing in.
The big one is closing in. Waking up.
I think that's maybe what it means. Like, poor player is referring to the $2 that you just put into the game. You're $2 poor.
Yeah. Maybe.
But, BRAWSHELLA needs a financial tribute in order to be destroyed.
See, what I don't know is, like through the ending of the game, like it mentions there's an intergalactic war. Like, we're going to talk about BRAWSHELLA, but we have just destroyed BRAWSHELLA, and now there's peace between the Remurie and the Mutras.
Who put the baby in charge?
Yeah, I don't know if
what idiot did that.
Brace is correct. But I don't know which one we were and which one was BRAWSHELLA. Oh, God, so.
Well, it was destroyed. It was destroyed, BRAWSHELLA, the evil weapon, as the ringleader.
It was the ringleader.
Like you
I'm reading this verbatim. That's how it's written. That's the proper lore there. It has brought the end of the interplanetary war.
Pulstar viewpoint, like the developer Yuma Kobo, like their resume is kind of light. It sounded like they made a few games and just kind of got folded into SNK, but I guess want to kind of know more about this, and maybe people listening can give us some links. But apparently they were a group that split off from IREM. I'm pretty sure that's true, because you just look at this game and you can kind of feel R-Type's kind of DNA in this game. No pun intended.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's some gross stuff in this game.
Just feel all the DNA.
All the DNAs.
Enough DNA to make baby BRAWSHELLA.
Baby BRAWSHELLA, who then shoots babies at you, which is disturbing in and of itself. It's like, how is this baby ejecting babies onto me?
That background is insane on that level with BRAWSHELLA, the whole like rippling, undulating
birth canal,
space baby membrane. Yeah, whatever's happening there.
The space birth canal that you're fighting in, the cosmic birth canal. Yeah, someone clearly needs some therapy on the Yuma Kobo team.
Oh, SNK, and the future is now.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Future was then. See, look, I just gave him a new slogan. Smack that on.
If you SNK, if you're listening, we only work on a percentage basis.
All I ask for is you make a Neo Geo Mini or something that has all the games, or at least the ability to put all the games on it. Because
legally,
the Neo Mini, you put 40 of the games on it, or it comes with it. But I want them all, like Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing like a little bit of digging into the game. I'm always like a huge fan of the music and shooters, and composer was Harumi Fujita, and she was a major Capcom alum, and she worked on some of the most iconic music over at Capcom. She worked on Bionic Commando and Strider and Mega Man 3 and Final Fight, and I saw that actually she was one of the contributors to Streets of Rage 4 recently. But just kind of doing a little bit of digging about the game and who worked on it, I had no idea that they were actually planning to do a Neo CD port of this game, and that just makes me dream about how amazing the music could have been on that version, because it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good just on the regular system. So, an arranged version would be
how awesome would that be?
It's been very nice, as Mr. Borat would say.
Yeah, I mean, is this the best looking Neo Geo like ship-based shooter? Like, I can't think of another like shoot 'em up on the Neo that looks better than this. I mean, this it's just like kind of best in class, at least my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think so. I could see some people saying Pulstar, but like they're just different. They're different styles of games, so 2 different types. But I like it a lot. I think it looks amazing. So I picked it.
Agreed.
So, that was my pick. Each of us are going to pick one of these games from the old Neo here. And have you gentlemen been thinking about anything?
Oh, I got one.
Choose. Daz has got a game he's picked.
Oh yeah, man. It's an oldie but a goodie, baby. Super Spy.
Oh, Super Spy.
Excellent choice, Daz.
I haven't played that shit in forever.
No, I
just remember I would go back and we were closing up the arcade. I'd go back and watch all the title screens and all the shit, and that was one that I watched a lot. I was like, I need to sit down and do this sometime, and I know I did. It's just been forever and a day. Yeah, man, I want to check that shit out again. Definitely don't want to play Fatal Fury. And and I don't want to play Magician Lord because that hurts my soul.
It's soul crushing.
Yeah, it's just fuck that.
Not
noise.
for the weak-hearted.
No. I'll stick to the old Super Spy, man. Yeah, punch and kick. I have to dust that one off. Yeah, let's check that boy out.
Neo is one of those systems. Like it's always a little magical to me. Like anytime that I don't mess with it and go back to it, I still think it's an amazing, invention, device, game system, whatever you want to call it.
It stands the test of time, and I think one of the reasons why it had just such long legs is because cartridges could just add more memory and make bigger, better experiences. So there's a reason for its staying power.
Awesome. So stay tuned next week when we check out Super Spy for the Neo Geo. Until then, this is Jones with Gohan and Dazpick, and we are signing out.
Bonus.
Until next time. Bonus.
Game over.